This week, we saw one of the most seminal 100-minute speeches in history. And no, I'm not talking about Adrian Brody's Oscar acceptance speech, which literally never ended. He's probably still up there right now, talking about the importance of independent film.
And I'm wrapping up. Please, I'm wrapping up. I will wrap up. Please turn the music off. I've done this before. Thank you.
My God, that speech was almost as riveting as the time I took Valium after a hernia surgery. Anyway, the speech I'm talking about was the president's first congressional address since his triumphant second-term victory, speaking to both chambers on Tuesday night. It acted as a bit of a victory lap. President Trump channeled his inner half-baked to gloat about his bevy of recent Oval Office achievements.
You're cool, and you, I'm out.
It was like that. I was in the room. Trump's hour 40 speech is the longest from a president ever given during a joint session, breaking former President Bill Clinton's past record of 1 hour and 28 minutes. To be fair, 15 minutes of that was just Clinton staring at Mary Bono while everyone just awkwardly waited around. Trump declared America is back, proclaiming he's done more in 43 days than most administrations accomplish in 4 or even 8 years, which is true, especially for Joe Biden, considering the last 3 months of his presidency, he was just looking for his pants and never found them. Republicans broke out into numerous chants of USA. Democrats, meanwhile, held up signs and whiteboards with messages like, "This is not normal," "Save Medicaid," or "Musk steals." That's right, the left turned the Capitol into a night at the Brazilian steakhouse. Except at the Democrats' Brazilian steakhouse, all the meat is soy. So, it's hell.
I hope you're hungry for nothing.
Republicans have been passing endless new bills trying to broker peace in the Middle East. Democrats are just holding signs, like Wile E. Coyote. And yet somehow a man named Al Green was not chill. Imagine sharing a name with an R&B legend that sang so smooth he was responsible for an entire baby boom in the United States. And yet somehow, this is you.
Mr. Green, take your seat. Take your seat, sir. Take your seat.
I can't get next to you, indeed. Democratic Texas Representative Green disrupted the opening remarks by repeatedly shouting and wielding his cane toward Trump, like an old man telling the neighbor kids to get off his lawn. That was precisely the image Democrats have been looking for, an image of change. They moved from a geriatric dotard screaming at the top of his lungs to a geriatric dotard with a bad haircut screaming at the top of his lungs while also waving a cane. Amazing look, guys. On the other hand, at least this particular congressman is a man who actually believes he's a man. You can't say the same for all the Democratic congressmen. Eventually, the nutjob had to be removed by the sergeant at arms, who must have been excited to actually do something and return to what he is actually good at, trying to impeach President Trump. Again, that's what he said.
He would have been impeached. And to be very honest, I would have voted for the impeachment.
Al Green is basically the Charlie Brown of impeachment, and President Trump is Lucy with the football. And then on Thursday, when he was censured for his childish behavior, a flock of Democrats surrounded Green and sang, "We shall overcome," until Speaker Johnson had to call a recess. They've lost the lot, guys. All this was missing was Elizabeth Warren performing a rain dance. We got a full-on summer camp.
Pocahontas says yes.
And if you ask me, keep the censures coming. Let's get to other Democratic toddlers like Nadia Velázquez from New York and Melanie Stansbury of New Mexico, who held up those protest paddles or wore pink suits to Trump's speech because he's apparently anti-woman. Both those methods backfired. The signs were childish and the suits were lazy. They continue to prove you can't spell resistance without R-E-S-T. We'll get to more of whatever this is in a moment. First, let me tell you something. I never realized just how bad my old mattress was until I got my Helix mattress. You know that feeling where you wake up and your back is already complaining at you? That was me more often than not. And don't even get me started on how my old mattress turned into a heat trap at night. But since switching to Helix, I wake up feeling ready to take on even my busiest days and the craziest headlines. Here's what makes Helix different. They don't believe in one-size-fits-all sleep solutions. Instead, they use their sleep quiz to match you with a custom mattress based on your body type and sleep preferences. Whether you sleep hot, need extra support for your back, or you share your bed with a restless partner, Helix has the perfect mattress for you. I took the sleep quiz. My mattress is firm but breathable, which is what I need. I'm sleeping better, so is my wife. Right now, Helix is offering an incredible March Madness sale. Visit helixsleep.com/Ben to get 20% off site-wide. That's helixsleep.com/Ben for 20% off site-wide. Again, just visit helixsleep.com/Ben for this exclusive offer. It works for me. It'll work for you because we're not gonna have the same mattress. You're gonna go take the quiz. They're gonna make an awesome mattress just for you. Check them out right now. HelixSleep.com/Ben. Get 20% off site-wide. Also, imagine a scenario where, God forbid, you or your loved ones face a serious threat. Your first instinct might be to resort to lethal force. But it's crucial to consider a safer, less lethal alternative first to avoid legal complications associated with firearms in many places around the United States. Introducing Byrna. Byrna's less lethal pistol launcher is equipped with tear gas and kinetic ammo designed to incapacitate an attacker for up to 40 minutes, providing a critical window for you to escape or get help while minimizing the risk of permanent harm. Here's a real-life account from a Byrna customer named Adam. He was heading to his night shift and encountered a road-raging driver who swerved dangerously, stopped abruptly, and aggressively approached him. Remaining calm, Adam dialed 911 and armed himself with his Byrna launcher. He aimed the laser at the aggressor's chest, which immediately de-escalated the situation. The driver returned to his vehicle and awaited the police. The officers confirmed that Adam's non-lethal response was perfectly judged. That night, Byrna didn't just prevent a potential tragedy, it saved 2 lives without causing any physical harm. Byrna is legal in all 50 states. It requires no background checks. It can be conveniently shipped directly to your door. Over 500,000 units have been sold already. Thank you, Byrna, for sponsoring this video. And if you haven't yet, go check out this week's episode of Ben After Dark on Daily Wire Plus, brought to you by Byrna. All this even after Nancy Pelosi, who is starting to make Gene Hackman look spry, warned her colleagues against protesting, saying they should simply let Donald Trump, quote, stew in his own juice. Eek. Hard to think of anything more disturbing than Nancy Pelosi saying the words stew in his own juice. Is there an opposite of only where you pay someone not to do something? And when 13-year-old cancer survivor DJ Daniel was honored and officially sworn in as a member of the Secret Service, most Democrats were still seen sitting down, unhappy. To be fair, they're generally only happy when kids are being aborted. But this is all just another example of why Democrats are leaving the party in droves. As the president said, no matter what he does, no matter how many lives he saves, what diseases he cures, they will never give him credit or even crack a smile. So here's my pitch for the next round of signs and paddles for the left during the next big speech. You can have that one for free.
If you're a Democrat and you're being mean to President Trump, I'm on your bumper.
Now, I know a lot of Americans were ecstatic about another President Trump big win, saving TikTok from a national ban. Well, thank God, because we all needed to see stuff like this. Well, if that video didn't get you second-guessing Donald Trump's decision about TikTok, just wait until you hear about the app's newest content creator, Casey Anthony.
This is my first of probably many recordings on a series that I'm starting. I am a legal advocate. I am a researcher. I've been in the legal field since 2011 as a proponent for the LGBTQ community, for our legal community, women's rights. I feel that it's important that I use this platform that was thrust upon me and now look at as a blessing as opposed to the curse that it has been since 2008.
That's right. The Florida woman acquitted in 2008 of killing her 2-year-old daughter and then dubbed the country's most hated mom has now opened an official TikTok and started a Substack newsletter in the hopes of helping others manipulate the legal system. Navigate the legal system. Listen, Casey Anthony giving legal advice, it's like if Alec Baldwin opened a gun range. For those who need a recap, Anthony was found innocent of murder, but was convicted of providing false information to law enforcement. She also, for some reason, waited over 30 days to report her child as missing, and in that same month, partied with friends and got a tramp stamp. Well, now she's a legal advocate in the same way Joe Biden is a doctor. Just because you say it doesn't mean we have to. In her big introduction clip on TikTok, she also claims she's now a proponent for the LGBTQ community. To celebrate her addition to the community, the new Pride Progress flag has added an emblem. It's pretty. I think it actually improves the look. She goes on to promise more posts, informative essays, and an ability to directly ask her questions, which I promise you now is a super bad idea. I know one lady who probably has a lot of questions. As seen in the hundreds of negative comments on her post, no one asked for a Casey Anthony comeback, especially because it's something her daughter can never do. So I, for one, hope she slowly Homer Simpsons back into the bush and forever disappears. Just like Ellen Page. While we're on the subject of things no one asked for, last weekend was the Oscars, the one night a year where Hollywood gets together and pretends there aren't a dozen other nights per year where they overtly celebrate themselves. This year was especially dismal, thanks to the evening's big winner, a snore fest or fest called Honora. For those of you who haven't seen my recap, it's the Cinderella tale of a young prostitute who marries a rich 18-year-old Russian heir in hopes that his fortune will allow her to quit the world's oldest profession, only to quickly learn his family has some objections. This movie is supposed to be a love letter to sex workers, and it basically swept all of the big categories. But in reality, the film's entire payoff is her eventual sadness when she has to, spoiler alert, return to having sex for money.
If you were with me, you wouldn't be here in this strip club shaking it for dollar bills.
This is a ballet studio, Terry.
Next thing he'll tell me is that leaving Las Vegas is a tribute to beer.
Drinking because my wife left me, or my wife left me because I started drinking.
But because the elite dubbed it art, we all now have to pretend it's Godfather 1 and 2 combined. It's not even Godfather 3. It's like if Pretty Woman was rated X and didn't have Julia Roberts or Richard Gere and everybody spoke Russian, and then at the end, Julia went back to being a
Get a job, finish high school. You know, I got things I can do, you know. I used to make pretty good grades in high school.
But as always, the Academy celebrates films none of us have actually seen. Inside Out 2, the highest-grossing animated film of all time, lost to a Latvian cartoon called Flow. Flow is apparently a silent film about a cat and made less than $5 million in domestic box office, which, for reference, is about 12% of what Madam Web made in theaters. And that movie included this incredible scene.
Hope the spiders were worth it, Mom.
Keep in mind, it costs like $5 million to feed Vin Diesel on a Fast and Furious movie, and we're going to pretend that this is the best animated movie of the year? I know not everything successful deserves to end up with Best Picture, but at a certain point, I think it's important to acknowledge that when a movie breaks records on an unprecedented level, it's, by definition, kind of good.
Listen, I gave.
It might not be Latvian or silent, but if you're trying to seem less out of touch, maybe this is a good place to start. But listen, when you have the Palestinian propaganda film No Other Land winning Best Documentary, and Daryl Hannah shouting Free Ukraine on stage like she has some form of left-wing Tourette's, maybe In Touch isn't something Hollywood is looking to be.
And thank you to Emilia.
Play them off. Play them off. No hope for Hollywood.
He was in the Amazon with my mom when she was researching spiders right before she died.